Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach Show. And, I got a very special guest here. And I was thinking of how I'm going to introduce him. So before we get into Raptors basketball, I do want to say this. So, Jack Armstrong, um, before I do give you that introduction, about 12 years ago is when I first met Jack. I was an intern coming out of Sportsnet. And when I was finished, because it was as a surprise, I found out that day that it was over for me. I kind of wondered, what am I going to do here? And so I started making calls and sending emails, and it was a bunch. It was probably about 100. Two people got back to me. One man's name was Dan Gladman, who was a very, very good person and mentor for me. And the other man here is Jack Armstrong. And when he got back to me, he said that I can come and shadow him while he was covering the NBA draft. And I don't even know if you remember that, Jack.
I do.
But at the end of it, I remember what you said at the end of the night, and it really stuck in my head. He said, Mike, I want you to remember one thing. It's bigger than a game. This is more about life, right? And what I did for you here today, bringing you in, I want you to promise me that you're going to, at one day, do this for another young person when they're on the come up. And that always stuck in my head. So Toronto Raptor and NBA analyst, former Division I coach, the legendary Jack Armstrong. Thank you very much for doing that, sir, because that has been in my head ever since. I never forgot that. And thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thank you. And it's interesting you bring that up. I get great joy in that because in my life, in my coaching career, actually my life, playing, coaching career, broadcast career, I have had people do the same for me. That kind of showed me the right way, showed me the right path. What's the old line? Sometimes you can see the stars, but you can't see the light. I've had a lot of people show me the light and help me along in different phases of my life, in different careers, different things. And so now for me, as I have matured, I hope, and gotten older and more advanced in different careers, I've always tried my whole life to give something back. And and I always say, people say, anything I could do for you, I'll do anything. And I always say, yeah, you actually can do something for me. You can pay it forward. You can now take this, and now I challenge you to turn around and help somebody else. And to me, I went to Fordham University in New York and also coached there, and that's the Jesuit fathers, and their motto is "Be a man for others." So that's kind of where I come from, and that's what I believe in. And I think we all have a responsibility as we move up the ladder, whatever that ladder is, to always make sure we're helping someone else climb it. And that's a responsibility. And thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Being around you for over a decade, you're really a man of the people. I mean, I always said, why don't you just run for mayor at some point here, Jack?
No. We got to get Pinball Clemens elected.
Yeah.
As that man is incredible. And I've been at many events with Pinball, and I always say we got to get him elected as mayor. So I'll be happy to organize the victory party for Pinball. But no, but I appreciate you saying that.
No problem, Jack. So, Jack, let's start here. Raptors are 26-19 on the season. How would you describe this team in one sentence?
Fun. I've really enjoyed this season. This is, Pat Riley, the great Pat Riley, calls years like this the innocent climb, where it just, boom, it just happens. And I expected them to be better. I expected them to kind of be fighting for respectability and be around 500, maybe somewhere in the 37 to 40, 41 win range in that ballpark. I think they're a little ahead of that right now.
Mhm.
So it's been fun. It's a fun group. It's a good group, really good group of guys, good vibe. Everyone's very connected, coaching staff, support staff, players, management, you name it. Uh, they've done a really good job. And the front office has done a really good job of bringing in good players, high character people. The coaching staff has done a really nice job bringing guys along. So it's fun. I really, it's a fun group. It's a good group. Are they, the best team in the NBA? No, they're not. But can they compete on a nightly basis? You're damn right they can. And I said this in exhibition season that I thought they'd be much better, and they are. And I said even when they lose, they'll lose more competitively than they did the
Mhm.
last few years, which I think overwhelmingly has been the case. So I think they're on the right track. To me, that's progress. That's positive.
What is the identity of this team if they have one?
Well, I think they play really hard, really hard. This group plays hard.
Mhm.
I think they share the ball. Um, and I think there's finally a pecking order. I would see those would be the three things I learned a long time ago as a young coach. I got to be able to, if you say, tell me three things, you should always be able to tell me three things of kind of what you stand for and what you're about. So I would say this group is incredible, plays hard, hard every night. There's an identity there. There's a pride there. You could see that at the second half of last season. You could see that with this young guys in summer league. And I don't put a lot in summer league. People get too hyped up about summer league,
Mhm.
but clearly there was something was there though, and I think it's carried over to this season in terms of how all that came about. They share it. There's no doubt about it. This group really shares it. And then last but not least, there's finally a pecking order like, hey, man, BI, Scotty, RJ when he's healthy, yada, yada, yada. And I think good teams need that and have to have it.
Mhm.
And in terms of shot distribution, um, where the ball goes, how you get it there, why you're getting it there, deployment, play act, play calls, all that kind of stuff. Very important.
This is how you know basketball minds think alike because I realize the basketball intellectuals, right? It happens with Leo, it happens with you as well. As you can see later on in the show, give me three components. And and once again, you've actually answered the question without me having to ask it. But I'm going to ask you this. What is something that you have seen from Coach Darko Rajaković that he does really well this season?
I think he's become very adaptable. Um, I think any first time head coach comes in and and I've been that guy, not at the NBA level, but the college level, and you have this um, preconceived notion of what this is supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. Well, good luck with that. What is the uh, a Yiddish a proverb? God, man plans, God laughs,
Mm,
right?
yes.
And that's coaching. Yeah, coaches plan. The game laughs, God
Mm,
laughs, right? I mean, you're getting hit by haymakers every day. You don't know what to expect. So I think he's become very adaptable. I think they came into the season saying, hey, we're going to press, we're going to trap, we're going to do all this stuff. And then 3, 4 games in, they're going, whoa, whoa, hold on a minute. I don't have the personnel for this.
mhm.
So they dial it back a notch or two. And all during the year, you're going to have injuries and sickness and fatigue and all those different things. That's part of being a pro coach. And, hey, we worked on all this stuff in practice. Well, guess what? The other team throws a monkey wrench at you in the game. And now how do you adapt to it? So, it's not only preparation from game to game, it's your ability to stand on your own 2 feet in game
Mhm.
and be able to adapt and adjust coming out of a timeout. And that's something to me that has impressed me about him and his coaching staff, that they come up with good solutions out of timeouts. They
Yeah.
come up with, um, they're willing to change and adapt and adjust going from quarter to quarter or coming out of the halftime locker room. If he doesn't like what he sees, he's willing to use that timeout and not be stubborn. Um, and not stick too long with a playing rotation that isn't working. So I think he's just become that much more adaptable. And I think you always do because you learn more about the roster, what you like, what you don't like, what are the strengths I'm playing to, and what am I hiding?
So, Jack, when you were a coach and you see some guys right now, whether it be Grady Dick or Ochai Agbaji, and they could be struggling a little bit. They could lose their mojo, right? And it could be mental, it could be something else. But what do you do as a coach when you see a guy struggling? What's your message to him?
Well, first of all, I try to, before I even do that, I get together with my coaches and we watch some film and say, okay, shot mechanics, uh, deployment, in terms of play calls we're running. Is this the right stuff? Are we putting him in the best position to succeed? Um, and I want to see if the mechanics, when we do put them in a position to succeed, are consistent with what they need to be to make the shot. Um, and then, with that being said, there might be times that I feel like, hey, we're putting you in good positions and you're not making the play. So there comes a point where you have to have a direct conversation and say, hey, man, this is a results based business. And when the ball finds you and you are open and you're not being guarded, we are paying you to make that shot. And you need to make it. And if you don't, at some point, I got to find someone else to do it. And that's the reality of pro sports. And, I coached in NCAA basketball a little different time than it is now in terms of NIL and the transfer portal. But back then the coach had a lot more upper hand than it exists now at the college game. And there would be times you bring a guy in and you have an incredibly frank conversation with them because, you could and you needed to. And I think
Mhm.
even at this level, you need to have that conversation with the player directly. You need to have the conversation with the player's agent. And, you need to sell it and you need to have a partnership. But I think if you have a good relationship with the player and you say, hey, look, this is the standard and this is where you are right now. How do we bridge the gap? Let's work together to do that. So here are some things that we're going to do to help you get there. Now, what are you going to do to get there? And we need
Mhm.
we need to get you there. We want to get you there. We want you to be there.
So, Jack, when you are a coach or you see a coach in a league, and let's say we use a guy like Emmanuel Quickley, for example, and you have a guy like Brandon Ingram who now joins your team in the offseason. Do you expect a player to be able to adjust his game according to who he's playing with? Or do you find you need to go out and find a guy who fits that type of role?
We live in an imperfect world. So in the ideal world, we get the person that complements uh, maybe your top guy or two, but rarely does that ever happen.
Mhm.
Instead, you have square pegs, round holes, all that stuff, and you got to make it work. And I'm not just talking about the Raptor roster. I'm talking about any roster. That's the job of a coach, is to somehow, some way, to get uh, you know, in any situation, sometimes you're going to have the proverbial misfit toys, and you got to make them fit. You got to sequentially connect and find a way to make it look, and that's what chemistry is.
Yes.
So to be specific, for a guy like Emmanuel Quickley, I mean, we all understand the deal. I mean, Brandon Ingram's the alpha. He's the top scoring option. And then Scotty Barnes is that guy who is the 1A uh, as well, that brings a different kind of versatility and a different type of game altogether than Brandon. But you play through those two guys, and you adjust your game to that a little bit. And you know what? Those guys care about winning, and they'll adjust to you too. You know, they'll make sure you get the ball if you have a hot hand. I mean, I'm in Sacramento today. You look at what happened the night before last night in Golden State. You know, guys aren't stupid. They know Quick's having a great game. They're gonna make sure they spoon feed him and get him in places to let him shine, because he's cooking tonight. So that's all part of it. But I think that's uh, some of it's on players to understand, like, I got to fit my game to certain guys when I'm on the floor. Other times they got to fit their game to me. But ultimately, we all have a responsibility to each other, and part of that's coaching too.
Jack, how important is physicality being amongst one of the better Eastern Conference teams?
Yeah. Well, and clearly, you bring that up, and not having Jakob Pertl and now Colin Murray Boyles has a direct, significant impact on physicality, or the ability, lack thereof. Um, you're scuffling right now when you have these, when you don't have a lot of size on your roster to begin with. You don't have a lot of girth and strength on this roster to begin with. And now you have those two guys out of the lineup. There are certain teams that are going to give you challenges. There are certain teams you can hide it. Depend on the night, but clearly, when you kind of asked that question, and even though Boston doesn't have great size, they play with incredible force,
Yes.
and the Raptors have struggled with that. Um, Raptors have struggled so far in their matchups with the Knicks.
Mhm.
Uh, I wouldn't say the Knicks are much bigger, but the Knicks play with a ton of force. And we haven't seen Detroit yet, but we understand, and we've all seen them
Oh, yeah.
without them playing directly with the Raptors. They play with force. So right now, a few of the guys that can bring force aren't on your roster in terms of being healthy enough to play. So that's a bit of a challenge right now. So now, do you hope that they get healthy soon? And then, the other question people always ask, late January, as we head into the February 5th trade deadline, is can you acquire that? But as we know, if you're going to acquire that, you got to give something up in order to get it.
Seeing Brandon Ingram up close and personal now compared to what you saw with his former teams, is there anything you see him do that kind of surprises you and say, wow, I didn't know he can do that thing specifically that well?
I love this guy. Um, First of all, he's not dying of a heart attack. He is the most chill dude, and he's a good dude.
Yeah.
He is just he's just a gentleman. Uh, he's all about winning. He loves to play. He loves to compete. He's a good teammate. He's a good guy. And he is I said the other night, if I had to have somebody make a mid-range shot and my life was banking on it. Who am I looking out for right now? I'm going KD,
Mhm.
BI, DeMar DeRozan, who we'll see tonight here in Sacramento. A guy I totally forgot to mention the other night, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as well. Those would be four guys that to me, and BI's like elite, man. He's elite in that category. And when he gets the matchup, he knows he can win. He's winning it, and he's really hard to change his shot because he has that high release point, a lot like KD. And he's a hooper, man.
Yeah.
He's a hooper. He loves playing. He loves playing. So I got a lot of respect for that. And don't be fooled by that sleepy demeanor. That
Mhm.
chill demeanor. He really cares. And he's a good sportsman too. Like he's really good on the court in terms of respect to his teammates, respect to his opponent, respect to his coaches, respect to the officials. He's a good sportsman. Uh, he has a good body language and he's a professional.
Got two more here for you, Jack. What have you noticed Scotty Barnes improving at this season?
Oh boy. This is always the biggest challenge with young players. And when I'm always constantly looking at this aspect more than anything else, how many plays per game are you getting their max? Whereas I'm getting 70% of you or 60% of you, or you're taking this play off because you're tired or you're mentally tired, or you're not focused. Um, this is the season I have seen him really break through in terms of his per play dial in to how you're supposed to play is the best I've seen it in terms of dotting the I, crossing the T, being on point, on task, being where you're supposed to be, being a leader vocally, being a leader by example, playing hard, trying to finish harder and with more force, really ripping the ball off the backboard and pushing the ball up the court. Um, Awareness level in terms of my vision, my peripheral vision, finding the right people, awareness level, dialed into game plan, dialed into opponent, dialed into scout and report, dialed into tendencies, time and score, all those things. I'm seeing the proverbial light go on. Um, is he all the way there yet? No. I think there's still another notch on the belt that he can get to. I'll never forget. I said that years and years ago when we had Chris Bosh,
Mhm.
and I said he's got one more notch on the belt. I'm hoping he can get there. And to Chris's credit, he did. And Chris ended up in the Hall of Fame. And I felt that with Tracy McGrady. And certain guys break through and get to that next gear. Scotty has one more gear that I think he can get to, and that's like a just beast mode, like just beast mode, like oh my God, this dude's a badass. You know what?
Mm.
And uh, that flashes occasionally, but it's not there all the time yet. But if that mentality uh, kind of breaks through that glass, like then, like the dude's going to be like one of the top 10, 12 guys in the league, in my opinion. He can be that.
Yeah.
He's not there yet, but like that's, if he would have asked me, hey, what am I missing? I mean, people get all caught up in like, oh, you got to shoot the three better, yeah, all that, the other thing. I would, that stuff all, that's a business case. Like, yeah, that stuff's all fine, well and good. Yeah, you got to make your open shots more and this, that, the other thing. But I'd be like, hey, man, here's the real deal.
Mhm.
Are
All
you
right.
going to be a badass? You know what?
Yep.
Every night, and if you are, all that stuff's going to even jump further.
Yeah, I agree with you, because one thing that was driving me a bit crazy, and I've seen it from game to game, when I see him catch that ball in the high post and he's looking to pass right away without attacking, I want to see him attack because a lot of the time I find that there are moments in the game where I want to see Scotty Barnes be a bit more aggressive because he has the ability to really attack the paint.
Yeah, no, it's a legitimate point. I also think, though, the beauty of Scotty Barnes that you never want to take away and makes your team better is he's Magic Johnson.
Yes.
I'm not saying he is Magic Johnson. What I'm saying is, though, he's a cool teammate because he gets great joy in your joy. The
Mm,
past is cool to him. Uh, you know, I've never asked him, but yeah, there are certain guys that get greater joy in getting 15 assists than 15 points. Uh, there's nothing wrong with that.
mhm.
You know, I so that's a beautiful thing he has in his game that you try to work with, and then also incorporate the fact that, like, hey man, uh there's maybe a few more plays a game where I want you to just go up and take this guy's head off and dunk it on his head,
Yeah.
you know? And but that comes.
Mhm.
That comes. And my point is I'm seeing a lot of really good stuff from him. He's really maturing. I'm really impressed.
Last question here, Jack. Do you believe that Emmanuel Quickley has another notch to his game?
Yeah, I think that notch in a lot of ways is him finding his place. I mean, it's pretty evident to me that comfort level when he's able to play more with Jamal Shed is there. So the question is he more comfortable at times, not all the time, being off the ball than on it, where he can maybe get his game off a little bit off the ball, and yet he can also play on the ball and worry about that. Is, in my mind, he a pure point guard? I would say he's more of a, I'm using a stupid term here, but he's more of a one and a half, at times
Mm.
a 1 3/4, where he's a lead guard. Is he Steve Nash or Jason Kidd? Is he your pure Mark Jackson, John Stockton? Is he your Isaiah Thomas? Is he your uh, I'm dating myself with these guys, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is he your traditional old school uh, point guard, or is he more of a lead guard where he's got a lot of scoring minded chops in his game? I think he's more of that. And I've had conversations with the folks in New York, obviously, that coached him, and to a man, they loved him personally and
Mhm.
professionally. I think they looked at him as a combo. And when I watch him play, he's a combo guard who can be your lead guard. But is he your pure traditional one? No. When he's able to play some as your lead guy, and then other times can play off it, whether that be with Shed or just play through Scotty, or play through where they double team Brandon Ingram, and now the ball swings 4 on 3, and you get in rotation and all that. Then he's able to show his stuff a little bit too. Um, and I would say, um, look, there's a significant investment there.
Yeah.
So there's going to be certain frustrations that arise at times that tie him directly to his contract. And, those expectations sometimes aren't met. Uh, but I always say this, you know, the player takes the pen and signs the deal. He didn't walk in with a gun. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he had the pen, he signed it, and but he didn't hold a gun to anyone's head. And I mean, like, hey man, somebody else paid him too. It's a
Yeah.
it's a partnership. So sometimes a contract can become an albatross to how you interpret and analyze a player. Uh, but the player is the player. So now my job, and I'm not coaching, but my job is to, and his job is to maximize his God-given abilities and play to the best of his ability every night. Now he's coming off an amazing, incredible uh, pinch yourself moment in Golden State with 40 and 10 and played as perfectly as you can probably play a game. Um, is that a realistic standard? Absolutely not. You're not going to do that
Right.
every night. I mean, historically, no, I mean, it's just unheard of.
Yeah.
So,
Shot over 80% as well.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
insane.
crazy. Yeah.
It's insane, but can he play better on a more consistent basis? Yes.
Mhm.
Does he need to play better on a more consistent basis? Yes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's direct. That's real. I'm sure he gets that real message from Coach Darko. I'm sure he got that real message from Coach Tibbs back in New York.
Mhm.
So he knows that. And he is a good guy, good teammate, cares, wonderful attitude, likable, hardworking, loves playing, loves the game. So to me, there's a lot to work with there. Is it perfect? Who is? You know,
Yeah.
but that's the beauty of it. And I'll finish with this, Michael, because sometimes I in the world we're in now, uh, the biggest challenge I have as an analyst, my job's to tell you why it's happening, how it's happening, frame it, give you a teaching point, a teaching gem, something to reflect on, food for thought. And what's happening now is people are absorbing their news, whether it be in a written form, social media, talk radio, whatever, blogs, whatever way you want to say it. And I feel like sometimes I have a headache because what people are throwing at the average sports fan is so much data driven.
Mhm.
I freaking hated math in
Yeah.
high school. you know, uh, algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus. I hate that. You know
It's all
what?
advanced statistics that nobody knows
It,
what the hell they're talking about.
you can do anything you want with numbers. And look, numbers are very much helpful. They help me. They help coaches. They help executives. They help players. They help agents. It's helpful. It's not the be all end all.
Mhm.
I need to be able to watch a guy and I know
Yeah.
there, I know the numbers, but more importantly, I know. I need to be able
Yeah.
to watch a team and I know the numbers, but I need to be able to see it, feel it in my gut, know it. It's totality. It's the big picture.
Yes.
So what's happening now is we are indicting certain players because certain numbers don't add up. And then we are making other people uh, better maybe than what they are because they're a statistical darling.
Mm.
Or we're looking at a team and saying, well, these numbers are this, so they must be this, when in fact they're not. Because
Right.
when I punch them in the face, they won't, it's like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Hmm.
You might play pretty, but when I hit you hard, we'll see how pretty you are. You
Right.
know,
Right.
can you withstand the rigors of a 7-game playoff series? And do you have what it takes when I punch you in the face? And to me, there are a lot of things that go into evaluating a player, a team, a coaching staff, moves that are made that are both good and bad. And a lot of that is statistically driven, which I understand. I think overwhelmingly it's become that. And I think it's taking the human element away from it. And it scares the heck out of me because I hate calculus and trigonometry and all this stuff, and I'm getting a headache. And to me, um, it's very important because as fans, as consumers and lovers of the games that we watch in every sport, it's really important to be able to sift through that and truly create your own evaluation and analysis of what you're watching and why does that make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? How do we get to this point? How do we end up here? So those are, I mean, and I'll just give you, one example before I go. I look at a young man like RJ Barrett.
Hmm.
Uh, to me, RJ Barrett at times isn't statistically pleasing. He's not numerically aligned with some folks' worldview of what the game should be and what it looks like. I know this, though, Michael, that if I'm out in a schoolyard, I'm too old now, but I grew up playing ball in the schoolyard, and it's like, hey, man, odds and evens, shoes up sides, shirts and skins, and you get first pick. I'm telling you what, I want that dude Barrett on my team
Yeah.
because he's going to hoop and he's going to do everything it takes to win. Now, he might miss 5 shots in a row, and the next shot wins. I'm going to pass him the ball, even though he missed 5 in a row, because you know what? When it counts, he's going to make it.
And he's not going to hesitate to shoot it either.
He's a ball player, and to me, uh, you know, the mind, the heart, and there's another body part, and I won't. It's a family show, but that's part of the evaluation too.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it gets lost. And I'm not, saying these things for the last 5 minutes because it's just about RJ Barrett. There are a lot of, excuse me, players in the league that we're in. There's players in hockey and baseball and football. I mean, I've had people tell me there's no such thing as a clutch G. I'm like, are you nuts? I mean, I watched Derek Jeter in his career.
Hmm.
That guy was clutch. There are certain guys, the bigger the moment, they're going to rise to the challenge. And
Oh
they
yeah.
might have and they might have played a horrible, lousy game, but when the time comes, uh, they're fearless
Yes.
and they'll rip your head off to win.
Yeah.
So that uh, I guess I guess what I'm saying is that's what I try to bring
Hmm.
is that in a world that's filled with numbers, and I use numbers and I do my statistical preparation and I'm ready for the game and all that kind of stuff. What I try to bring is the heart, the soul, uh, the heartbeat of what the game is, and that's important, and that's real. And it's interesting. You know, Alvin Williams, who I love dearly. and is one of my all-time favorite players with the Raptors, one of my all-time favorite people, you know, I think it's a good yin and yang because Alvin played, I coached, and we have a little different perspective, but we're both in that right church in terms of, I always joke, you want to only be in the right church, you want to be in the right pew. Our worldviews and our experiences are a little different, but most of the time we arrive at the same place, and that's important. That like our job as analysts is to educate people and give different perspectives on the game. So it gives you food for thought to think about. But
Mhm.
I'm not gonna overwhelm you with 37,000 numbers because the game's moving so fast. Those numbers change so fast. Um, it's not, a lot of times it isn't relevant, and it's just you're filling up space and talking about things that really aren't relevant. So I guess I don't know why I went on that rant, but
I'm
nonetheless,
glad you did.
I hope I made sense.
You did. You absolutely did. Jack, I want to end off here with a message of hope, okay? Because when people come to my channel and I'm building a community, it's about more than just basketball, right? And I've learned that from you as well, which is a story I told to start the show today. And so for the people who are here, I always try to teach them something else aside from just basketball. Now, whether somebody's struggling in life, whether it be with their spouse, a job, whatever the case may be, what is something that you can share with someone who's struggling in life right now, just to kind of, give them a little bit of hope?
uh, I had a lesson, a life lesson. A teacher said this to us one time, and you really, really got to believe in yourself, and you got to stand on your own 2 feet, and you got to believe in who you are and what you're about. And he said something very powerful. He said, to be yourself in a world that's trying to make you like everybody else is the hardest fight you'll ever fight, and you'll never stop fighting.
Mm.
Uh, I guess my point is your individuality, who you are, what you're about, what you stand for. You're one of one, and you're unique, and we value you. And more importantly, you got to start valuing yourself more. And you can't stop beating yourself up because that image on the internet or social media, whatever, that people are putting out is reflecting, people are only putting out the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of young people struggling today because they feel like I'm not living the perfect life. I'm not the perfect person. There's no such thing as a perfect life. There's no such thing as a perfect person. But you know what's pretty cool? The perfectly imperfect you, and be you, and start kind of figuring out who you are and what you're about, and put your best foot forward, and be proud of that. And don't allow all the noise and BS to drag you down. Um, Tune it out, and more, you know, express who you are and be who you are. So I guess that would be my thing.
The one and only, the legendary coach, Jack Armstrong. Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I appreciate all your support and the friendship over the last decade plus. And I'm hoping these subscribers and listeners will get to see you at least one more time before the end of the season. Thank you very much, Jack.
Mike, have a great day. Always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you soon.
This is the Mike Roach Show, and we're out.